It was late at night in the city office building. The fluorescent lights buzzed softly, the air smelled faintly of cleaning solution, and the sound of a mop sliding across the floor echoed down the empty halls. But then, something unusual broke the silence. A piano. Soft, careful notes floating through the air, the kind that carry both sadness and hope. The man playing was a janitor, sleeves rolled up, gray streaks in his dark hair, and eyes tired from years of hard work. His name was Michael, a single dad trying to hold life together after losing almost everything. And next to him, sitting quietly on the piano bench, was a little girl no older than 8. Her fingers traced the keys gently, her eyes unfocused. She was blind. Neither of them knew that, just beyond the half-closed door, her mother, the CEO of the company, was standing still, listening. Before we get deeper into this powerful story about how kindness can change lives, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. Your support helps us share more real, emotional, and inspiring stories like this one. Welcome to your channel name, where every story reminds us that kindness still matters. Michael wasn't supposed to be in that part of the building that night. His shift usually ended at 10 p.m., and the piano room was part of the executive floor. But earlier that day, he had found a little girl sitting on the stairs outside the lobby, quietly humming a song. "Hey there," he had said softly, setting down his mop bucket. "Are you lost?" The girl turned toward his voice. "No, sir. I'm just waiting. My mom's working late again." Michael had smiled, though his heart ached a little. He knew that feeling of waiting, hoping, and sometimes feeling invisible. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lila," she said with a grin. "I like your voice. You sound kind." It was then he noticed her white cane leaning against the wall. She couldn't see him. Yet somehow, she saw him better than most people did. That night, as the clock hit 10, Michael noticed she was still sitting there. "Your mom's still working?" he asked gently. "She said she'd be done soon," Lila replied. "She's always busy. She says I can play the piano while I wait." Michael looked at the grand piano in the corner of the lobby, something he'd never dared touch. He had loved music once, long ago, before life forced him to trade dreams for paychecks. "Do you play?" he asked. "I try," she said with a giggle. "But I don't know how to make it sound like my dad used to." Michael felt something tighten in his chest. Was he a pianist? "He used to play me songs before bedtime," she said. "Then, he got sick. I miss him." Silence fell between them, heavy but gentle. Then Michael smiled faintly. "You know," he said, "maybe I can help you remember one." He walked over to the piano, his hands trembling slightly as he brushed the dust off the keys. "How about this one?" he said, pressing the first soft note of Clair de Lune. The sound was fragile, like it might break if the world got too loud. But Lila's face lit up instantly. "I know that song," she whispered. "That's the one he used to play." She reached out and placed her tiny hands beside his. Together, they played slowly, unevenly, but with a kind of magic that only hearts can create. Michael forgot for a moment that he was a janitor. Forgot the late shifts, the bills, the loneliness. All he saw was this little girl smiling, feeling the music instead of seeing it. What he didn't know was that Lila's mother, Emily, had returned early to grab some files. She was the company's CEO, sharp, composed, and always in control. She had built her career from the ground up, believing that emotions slowed people down. But as she walked past her office door, she stopped. The sound of the piano floated through the hall, delicate and haunting. She peeked inside, and what she saw made her heart freeze. Her daughter, laughing softly. Her janitor, playing beside her. For a moment, she wanted to interrupt. To tell him he shouldn't be there. But something about the sight, the connection between them, made her stay quiet. She stood there, hidden in the doorway, tears she didn't expect burning her eyes. When the song ended, Lila clapped her hands joyfully. "That was beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Michael." Michael smiled. "You're welcome, sweetheart. You play like my dad," she said softly. "You play with feelings." Michael chuckled. Well, I had a daughter once too. She loved to listen. She passed away a few years back. The room fell silent again. Lila reached out and held his hand gently. I'm sorry, she whispered. But maybe you could play for me sometimes. I could be like your daughter when you miss her. That was the moment when kindness flowed both ways, from a little girl who couldn't see, and a man who had lost too much. Emily stood frozen behind the door, her world spinning. She had judged Michael before, barely noticed him, really. Just another worker cleaning the hallways. But now she saw something she hadn't in years, genuine kindness. The kind that didn't expect anything back. Later that night, when Michael finished cleaning, he found a note on the piano. It read, "Please come back tomorrow evening. Same time. E." He almost threw it away, thinking it was a warning. But something in his gut told him to show up. The next evening, Michael hesitated outside the piano room. When he stepped in, Lila was there again, and this time, Emily was waiting beside her. "Mr. Michael," Emily said softly. "I owe you an apology. I heard you play last night, and I saw how happy my daughter was." "Thank you for that." Michael blinked, unsure what to say. "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I shouldn't have." "No," she interrupted, smiling gently. "You should have." Lila giggled. "Mom said you can teach me how to play." Michael looked between them, stunned. "Teach you? But I'm not a real teacher." "You are," Emily said. "At least, you are to her." So that became their new routine. Every evening, after work, Michael would sit with Lila and teach her one song at a time. He guided her hands across the keys, describing how each note felt, not how it looked. Emily would sometimes listen from outside, realizing that this janitor had given her daughter something she couldn't: time, patience, and love. Weeks turned into months. Lila learned to play entire songs by touch, her face always glowing with joy. Michael found purpose again, something more meaningful than money. One afternoon, Lila surprised him. "I want to play at Mom's company event," she said excitedly. "You'll play with me, right?" Michael laughed nervously. "I don't think your mom wants a janitor on stage." "She does," came Emily's voice from the doorway. "She really does." The night of the event arrived. The grand ballroom sparkled with light. Executives, clients, and families filled the room. When Lila walked up to the piano, the crowd fell silent. Michael stood beside her, dressed in a clean suit Emily had bought for him. Lila whispered, "Let's play Dad's song." And together, they began. The notes floated through the hall like a warm breeze, each one carrying love, loss, and hope. By the time they finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. People stood, clapping, some even wiping their faces. Emily walked up to them, hugged her daughter tightly, then turned to Michael. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for bringing music back into our lives." Michael smiled humbly. "Thank you for letting me." From that day on, Michael wasn't just the janitor. Emily made sure he became the building's music program coordinator, teaching children from nearby shelters how to play piano on weekends, all funded by the company. And every evening, when the building quieted down, he and Lila still played together, not as teacher and student, but as family. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, a song shared between strangers, can heal more hearts than we ever imagine. Conclusion. Kindness doesn't need to be loud or grand. Sometimes, it's as simple as sitting beside someone, listening, or sharing a song. Michael thought he was just helping a lonely girl remember her father. But in doing so, he reminded a mother of what truly matters: love, time, and connection. So, the next time you have a chance to be kind, take it. You never know who's standing behind the door, or how your kindness might change their life forever. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who believes in the power of kindness. This is your channel name, reminding you that one small act of kindness can echo far beyond what you see.